trust is like glass. Once shattered, it can never be the same. I learned that the hard way when the delicate balance of my relationship with Emma, the woman I thought I'd spend my life with, crumbled beneath the weight of secret desires neither of us could face. It started innocently enough, or so I convinced myself at the time. Emma and I had been together for 3 years. We shared everything, our hopes, dreams, and even our fears. At least, that's what I thought. I was in love with her. She was everything to me. But as we settled into the rhythm of life together, a quiet dissatisfaction crept into the corners of my mind. I ignored it at first. We were happy, weren't we? We had our routine, breakfast together, long walks on the weekends, movie nights curled up on the couch. But something was missing, and that something, I now realize, was honesty. The kind of honesty that goes beyond just telling the truth, but requires revealing your most vulnerable, uncomfortable desires. I didn't realize how much I craved excitement, something more than the mundane pattern our lives had fallen into. And that's when I made the mistake. I joined a chat room, one designed for people like me who felt stifled in their relationships, who craved things they were too afraid to voice to their partners. At first, it felt harmless, a place to vent and explore ideas I thought were too wild to share with Emma. I convinced myself it was nothing more than an escape, a way to satisfy a part of me that didn't belong in our relationship. But secrets have a way of breeding mistrust. Slowly, the lines between what was real and what I hid from Emma blurred. The conversations I had in that chat room grew bolder, more intimate. I wasn't cheating, I reasoned. I hadn't physically acted on anything. But the truth was, I had already crossed a line, one I couldn't uncross. Emma was perceptive, more so than I gave her credit for. She started to notice subtle changes in me. I would check my phone more often, smile at texts that weren't from her, and make excuses when she wanted to spend time together. The guilt gnawed at me, but the pull of secrecy, of indulging in something forbidden, was stronger. "Is everything okay, Daniel?" she asked one evening as we sat across from each other at the dinner table. Her eyes searched mine, her voice soft but laced with worry. "Yeah, of course," I replied, forcing a smile. But the words tasted bitter. She didn't press further, and for a moment, I thought I had gotten away with it. Days turned into weeks, and I continued my double life. I would kiss Emma goodbye in the morning, telling her I loved her, and then spend my nights online, lost in fantasies I didn't dare share with her. It wasn't long before Emma's patience wore thin. She grew distant, quieter, as if waiting for me to come clean about something I didn't even know how to begin to explain. Then, one night, everything fell apart. I came home from work to find Emma sitting on the couch, her face pale, her laptop open in front of her. My heart sank. "Daniel," she said, her voice trembling. "What is this?" She turned the screen towards me, and there was my secret world exposed. The chat logs, the messages I'd exchanged with strangers, my hidden desires laid bare for her to see. I froze, my mind scrambling for a way out. But there was no denying it anymore. The hurt in her eyes was unbearable, a deep wound that I had inflicted without ever realizing how much damage I was doing. I can explain," I stammered, though I knew there was no explanation that could make this right. Her lips trembled as she shook her head. "Why didn't you talk to me? Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me what you were feeling?" I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came. How could I tell her that I was afraid? Afraid that if she knew the real me, the parts of me that craved something more, she would leave. But in trying to protect our relationship, I had destroyed it. "I don't know," I whispered, the weight of my deceit pressing down on me. Silence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. Emma stood, her shoulders slumped as if the betrayal had physically drained her. "I thought we had something real, Daniel. I thought we shared everything. But now I see. I don't even know you." Tears welled in her eyes, and I felt my heart break in a way I hadn't thought possible. "I'm sorry," I choked out. "I never meant to hurt you." "But you did," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. "You've been lying to me, to yourself for who knows how long." The truth hit me like a tidal wave. I had been lying, not just about the chat room, but about everything. I had been hiding my true desires, pretending that what we had was enough when it wasn't. And now, because of that, I had lost her. Emma packed her things the next morning. She didn't say much as she left, and I didn't try to stop her. I had no right to. As the door closed behind her, the weight of my actions settled in. I had ruined the one thing that mattered most to me because I was too afraid to be honest. In the end, it wasn't the secret desires themselves that destroyed us. It was the deceit, the hiding, the lying, the betrayal of trust. If I had only been brave enough to talk to Emma, to share my feelings instead of burying them in the shadows, maybe things would have been different. Now, all I have left is the memory of what we were and the bitter knowledge of what I let slip through my fingers. Trust, once broken, is almost impossible to rebuild. And sometimes, we don't realize the true cost of our actions until it's too late.